My name's Rowena Paling. I'm the Vice Dean and Canon Missioner at Blackburn Cathedral in Lancashire. I've been a priest for about 18 years, and during that time I've taken a great number of funerals, including people who have died through knife crime or other violent means. It's not possible to have a hierarchy of grief. You can't say that because somebody has died at a particular age or in a particular way, the grief of a family is going to be better or worse than the grief of another family whose loved one has died in different circumstances. But what I would say is that of the funerals that I've taken, those where the death has been the result of violent crime have been amongst the most harrowing. And they're also the funerals where we see the relatives really wrestling with a huge range of emotions. My work is particularly in supporting those families. Sometimes you see in them just absolute devastation, confusion, disbelief. They can't believe that somebody who they saw alive and well first thing in the morning is now dead. Sometimes there's real anger involved. They might be angry with the person themselves. They might feel that they've put themselves in a position, had a lifestyle where they put their own life at risk, and they can be furious about that, really angry in the midst of their grief. They might be really angry with the perpetrator, but they might also be really angry with the other people associated with the funeral. One of the bizarre things, which perhaps people don't expect, is that a grieving family who are angry about a death can actually be angry with the person who's taking the funeral. Of course, it's not my fault that their loved one has died in that way, but in their minds, I'm forever associated with that moment of pain. And if I run into them in the street or in another place, weeks or months or even years later on, they may choose not to speak to me or even to be rude to me because they associate me so strongly with that grief and they can't get away from it. Obviously, as a Christian priest, I have a responsibility to present a Christian message of hope in a funeral. But part of my task is about holding the grief of all those who are present and taking part in that service. If it's the death of a young person, if it's an unexpected death, then typically you can have hundreds of people at a funeral. And to hold the grief of all those people, to hold their confusion of emotions, takes a great deal of effort and strength. It's exhausting, but that's what the job involves, and in a sense I'm used to that. There was one year in my ministry some time ago when 3/4 of the funerals which I took were of men aged under the age of 35. All of them had died in sudden and violent circumstances, either at their own hand or the hand of someone else. The devastation felt by their families, by their loved ones, was so intense, I can't even put it into words. So my message for anyone who's considering carrying a knife or using a knife would be to stop and think about the people who they leave behind. In a sense, when somebody's dead, they're dead. But for the family who are left behind, they carry that grief for the rest of their lives. So if someone's planning to carry a knife, I would say, just don't. Think about the people who love you, think about the people who care for you, and think of the impact that it will have on them.